Anderson, this was a game-changing debate in the sense that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists, it involves elected officials, it involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket, and they're having conversations about what they should do about it. Some of those conversations include, should we go to the White House and ask the president to step aside? Other of the conversations are about, should prominent Democrats go public with that call? Because they feel this debate was so terrible. But then at the end, even his closing statement was a little halting. But I can tell you, it started minutes in. It started with the first couple of answers, and it has continued throughout the night from a, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, to what do we do about this? And it involves very senior people in the Democratic Party, including elected officials, saying we have a problem.
Whereas Biden's answers were, in a lot of cases, not coherent, deeply problematic, that he was not able to take pretty straightforward answers and answer them to the American public. And then also, at some points, bringing things up that teed up Trump attacks. So there's a real concern here tonight that there's been some real damage done that cannot be undone. Biden solidified the perception among voters, but especially among his base. They were hoping that tonight would be a game changer. They are now seeing a president who is in the White House, who they do not necessarily believe can do this for another 4 years.
Listen, if anybody in America thinks that was even close to being an okay debate by Joe Biden, I'm living in a parallel universe. That was an unmitigated disaster for President Biden from the second he walked out to the closing statement. The biggest issue for Democrats is abortion, and he couldn't give an answer.
Yeah, look, it was a really disappointing debate performance from Joe Biden. I don't think there's any other way to slice it. His biggest issue that he had to prove to the American people was that he had the energy, he had the stamina, and he didn't do that. Look, there is no two ways about it. That was not a good debate for Joe Biden.
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. But he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
They came into this debate nervous that Biden was in a weak position. They leave this debate panicked.
John, if you love the guy, how could you put him out there?
That's hard.
If you love him, if you love Joe Biden, if that was my father, you don't put a guy in that situation.
The problem with the one night is that it's a one night that helped confirm people's fears. Yeah. It's the one night that everybody was watching. That was essentially, Trump said, you ought to take a test. That was his test.
When we came on before this debate, I said I thought this candidacy was teetering. And everybody jumped on me.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Every single person out here. and I just, the candidacy has fallen, okay? Man, I know you're speaking from your heart. I'm worried about the president. We should pray for the president. I think his advisors, I think the White House, and I think his family have a lot of explaining to do to their party and to the American people. This night, this one night, was caused by and asked for by the Biden team. They wanted this night. And this is what we got. We have been told for weeks by Democrats who say, oh, in private meetings, I've seen Joe Biden do cartwheels and handstands while doing trigonometry while solving all the nation's problems. We now know that every single person who said that has been lying to the American people and as a country. He did not do that. He continued to pummel Joe Biden all night. I understand what you're saying. But at the end of the night, very few things about the policy exchanges is going to be remembered. People are going to remember Joe Biden. They're going to remember him shuffling out. They're going to remember him staring blankly into the camera. They're going to remember him looking down, losing his train of thought, and they're going to remember that everything I thought I knew, but the White House told me don't believe my own eyes, is actually true.
But that's
But young voters are up for grabs in this election, and I don't know a voter under 30 who would have watched tonight and could say, I have confidence in Joe Biden and casting my vote for 4 more years of Biden.
And this opens the door, by the way, for the conversation about if Joe Biden remains the candidate, you're not voting for Joe Biden. You are voting for President Kamala Harris. Let's be honest. That is where the Trump campaign is going to go with this. They started down this road with an ad they released today. But this conversation about who you're actually casting your vote for, the volume is going to ratchet up. And I got news for you. She's less popular than he is.
And Biden's job as the other person on the other side of the stage is to be the one to very quickly dispense with the lies and to shut them down. And I don't think that happened enough times in a coherent way to blunt the fact that Trump was taking a universe that was built on a house of lies and building a whole world for the millions of people watching.
Particularly
And
on some of the most basic
on basic
subject
stuff.
matters that
And
President Biden should have
world-
been able to just...
That world that he was able to build, it was not knocked down by the president. That is really at the heart of the problem. He made
mics off, guys.
Real
You gotta
quickly,
turn
on,
your
on
mics
the,
off.
on the one thing that, that Biden did fact check him on the Charlottesville thing, he was completely wrong. All right, so he's up there talking about Charlottesville and Trump not denouncing the two sides. And Snopes was out last week, 7 months, 7 years too late kind of thing on the deal. And that's the thing Joe Biden's going to fact check him on, something that was proven false.
When he first started speaking, President Biden, and that the raspiness, the hoarseness in his voice, that was at 9/11, and there were several minutes when Jake and Dana were setting the rules, so it's got to have been less than 10 minutes into the debate, and he totally lost his train of thought, and ended up saying Medicare just out of the blue, and this has been, quite frankly, a car accident in slow motion that we've seen over and building and questioning it. And, as has been pointed out, Joe Biden sought this debate at this remarkably early time because he knew he was losing and he needed to change the narrative.
Yep.
And he did change the narrative. He sunk his campaign tonight. He couldn't see
So
that
can I just for
well.
a moment, because we can hear him, and this is happening right now. So I just in this moment, he's at a watch party. They're cheering 4 more years. He's speaking. What I'm curious about, okay, is does he know how bad this was at this moment? He walked out to his aides. Does he know? And we can hear him a little bit on the
If
mic.
he doesn't know, that's more alarming than anything. He's not the first president who's had a really...
Since we can hear it, why don't we listen to a little bit of it? Okay.
Heading to North Carolina. All right. Thank you. I want to go home with you. Thank you.
All right, so there he is. Thank you. The rousing applause going to that party.
Okay, he wasn't a third that vibrant or vigorous inside the debate body.
He finishes his statement, and the moderator, I forget which one, says you have 49 seconds left, basically almost half of your 2 minutes. Then he's asked about Social Security, and I think it was Dana says, you have 82 seconds left. I mean, he wasn't able to even fill the 2-minute time he was given with the other guys might go up to talk about black voters and protecting Social Security.
And not
that he was incapable tonight on the biggest of stages that he sought, he in effect dictated, and with all of that preparation, he was incapable of doing better than he was. And you can't come back from that. You can't be on a stage where tens of millions of Americans watched you and come up empty. And that's what he did tonight.
After his performance, it has really set off panic. And that moment early on in the debate where President Biden was talking about the national debt and seemed to lose his train of thought, paused for several seconds, and then gave a confusing answer. He said that when that happened, the entire room was just completely silent and in shock, and that this member's own reaction was that he wanted to jump off of a bridge. Democrats, he said, are just panicked right now and don't even know what to do. I mean, these are some really devastating reviews for a Biden campaign that really wanted to use tonight to dispel this notion that President Biden is too old for a second term.
CNN's John King has described a panic inside the Democratic Party right now because of President Biden's performance in tonight's debate. I mean, the president's performance tonight clearly was disappointing for his supporters. CNN is reporting Democratic lawmakers watching the debate were worried about the president's performance. One said it was a disaster. Another called it a train wreck. Those are Democrats especially worried that Biden did not punch back on Trump's lies. Obviously, I mean, you can't honestly say, I mean, can you say that you are not concerned at all having watched the president's performance tonight?
It was a slow start. That's obvious to everyone. I'm not going to debate that
The
point.
person we
These are
saw
big
tonight,
issues.
the president we saw
Substantive
tonight on that
issues.
stage, is that how he is every day? Evan Osnos, you have watched President Biden a lot. What did you make of tonight's performance?
Yeah, I don't think there's any other way to put it. This was clearly a person who was diminished from where he was on the debate stage 4 years ago. I think for a lot of Americans who don't follow politics closely, they saw that and they were shocked. His self-mythology has always been, okay, I'm the guy that gets knocked down and I get back up. That is, in some ways, it could be a real impediment to him if he's not going to be able to listen clearly to what people around him are going to say. There has to be some very hard conversations. And if he is, in some ways, occluded by that story that he tells himself that he can always prevail, that's going to interfere with his ability to be a clear strategic thinker.
Listen, it is like tying a giant anchor. Joe Biden is tying a giant anchor around your neck and jumping off the dock at this point.
But who wants to
where were those candidates last night on Twitter? None of them. They were silent. There was deafening silence from people who are running on the ticket right now because you know what they had to say? Nothing. They couldn't defend his performance. They couldn't say one good thing. So they're just like their mom taught them, don't say anything. Can't say something nice? Don't say anything because they're quiet. Quiet.